Ontario, Canada, and she's been a community person, right? And she's also a fun person. She recently took up comedy, right, Amber? at Crazy Job Bar and Grill. Mano, we have your comedian on the show here today. Amber, you're very involved in the community. Can we? What the show is all about is encouraging people to believe that we can live the designed life, that the individual is empowered and the individual can decide and choose the kind of life that we want to live. We're not victims of the system. We're not victims of government or society or tradition or religion or anything like that. The individual stands empowered, and that's the message that we want to preach to the world, right? What would you say, given your life as a Canadian woman in this city, especially with COVID and everything, do you think this is a legitimate advice? Well, I don't know if it's advice, but advocacy that we're taking on?
Well, I really think that every day is a new day, and we can wake up with a fresh start, fresh attitude, and we're really the own masters of our own destiny. So we're able to have these opportunities living in Canada. We have amazing healthcare, we have amazing infrastructure, and really the world is your oyster. So if there's anything that you want to do, we're so blessed in Canada to have the education and the healthcare and the things that we have. We really do take for granted. So I feel we're so blessed living in Canada, and a lot of people don't reach for their dreams, and you know, the future and the possibilities are endless. You have to make your own opportunities.
Do you think, so why is it in our city, we know a lot of people are falling through the cracks. We were talking about that earlier, where on the social scene on the street is sometimes really heartbreaking. What would you say to individuals who are struggling, who are going through mental health problems and addiction problems? And I mean, you hang out to the bar and you see a lot of this kind of life on the street. And of course, in all of us when we go downtown Oshawa. But the same is elsewhere in the world, like in California, Skid Row. You were talking about Skid Row, and elsewhere in, you know, even in Australia or in parts of Europe, in other parts of Canada, BC, Hamilton, different parts of Ontario. We see this social situation where the individual falls through the crack because they can't cope with society. What do you think is causing, and what advice would you, as a Canadian woman, how would you speak to women in this day and age?
Sure. Yeah, there's definitely an opioid crisis and mental health crisis right now, and the simple fact is there's just not enough hospital beds that are dealing with these mental health issues. And specifically a young gentleman that we were working with, trying to get him some help downtown. We've worked with the police, I've worked with the region, we've worked with everyone trying to get this young man some help. And he gets taken in on a Form 2 to Lakeridge Health, and unfortunately he's out the next day, and he hasn't received the help. So what we're doing is really just, we're empathetic people, and we want to help everyone, but we're really just enabling them because we're not drilling down to the root cause of what's actually causing these issues.
Amber, how could we say to the person going through a hard time?
Yeah.
Especially with COVID. Like, you can design your life.
Yeah.
You can take charge and alter your own future.
I think people get in these ruts and they feel like it's endless, and it's not, they're hopeless because maybe they are addicted to drugs or they have some mental health issues, but it's not hopeless. You can turn it around, and you just have to have a will to do it. And I've often talked about there should be more mentorship programs between some of the marginalized and some fully functioning people in society, because if I can make a difference in someone's life, even by coaching or mentoring them, I'd be more than happy to do so. But specifically, there's a lot of women in these situations too, and they could be fleeing bad partners, relationships, and things like that. So just know that there are help and there is supports out there. And even if you're going through something right now and it might seem very grim, there is a light at the end of that rainbow, and don't give up. Just keep fighting with every last breath, because your life is worth it. You are valuable, you are important, and I just really believe that people get hard on themselves and they don't realize it's hard to love yourself sometimes, and you start with that. Tell yourself that you love yourself and that you're worthy every single day, and that'll start to change the mindset.
It's all about mindset, eh?
Yeah.
How did you cope with COVID?
COVID's been difficult for me. When it first happened, I work in the hospitality industry, and of course it really did a number for my industry. And layoffs, back and forth with work. The hotel, I work at a hotel, and it just was not doing so well with the COVID. And I even developed my own level of paranoia. When it first happened, I was wiping down my groceries. I was really paranoid. I had outside clothes, inside clothes, and I would take my clothes out, and I'd make sure that I would never cross-contaminate. And I feel like I was really, that's what I was reading in the news, and I got kind of overwhelmed with it. And then when I realized, like, maybe it is still a big deal, of course, but maybe it's not quite what the level they had anticipated, or they, scared me with it.
I came here as an immigrant to Canada, and a lot of Canadians are immigrants. You grew up here, right?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
What is it like growing up in Canada, being a Canadian woman and building a life in a society that is basically one of the richest societies or countries in the history of humanity?
That's a great question. It's I feel so blessed to be Canadian, and I have done a lot of travel through South America, Colombia, Peru, Panama. I've been places in Kingston, Jamaica, Tanzania, Africa, Ethiopia.
Live the life, eh?
And I've seen all different walks of life, and I know how I've preached about the healthcare earlier, but we're so blessed to have all the opportunities and resources that we do have as Canadians, and we tend to take that for granted because maybe some people don't have the same experience, or they haven't seen a lot of these things firsthand. But third world problems are a lot different than some of our issues, and we need to kind of think bigger that there's people out there really suffering, and we're very blessed with what we have. So I think we need to be a lot more grateful as a society.
So you're involved in, you network with some of the leaders in society. You're part of Rotary. You're on the board of community living.
Correct, yes.
And of course you're in hospitality. Can you tell us about your hospitality experience or work experience since you started in the industry?
Sure, that's great. I actually started at the Holiday Inn on Bloor Street, 1011 Bloor, which is now the Courtyard Merida. So I think everyone in Oshawa has worked at that place at one point of their life.
Okay.
So I started as a banquet server. That was one of my first jobs. And I took a cruise with my family, and I had such a wonderful experience from that cruise. All the workers on the cruise made my trip so memorable that I knew that I wanted to work in hospitality. So I started working on the front desk. I moved around to a few different hotels, and I ended up working in a hotel down in Toronto. I was the front desk agent, and I was promoted within a week working there. And then I became the night manager, and then I was later promoted to be the hotel accountant. And then I moved on to a couple other opportunities. I worked in some restaurants, and then I went back to the hotel industry as the corporate office accountant. And now I'm working as director of sales, and I work very closely with Durham College and Durham College students. With the hospitality program. I like to do a speech for them annually, and it's great to inspire and work with some of the youth that are up and coming. But it's been great working in this industry because it's given me the opportunity to travel and see places that I might not have before. So it's given me perspective.
And you're also the chair of the hospitality committee, is it, at Rotary?
I'm chair of the fundraising committee.
Fundraising committee.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about Rotary. What is?
You're
in my club, by the way.
I wish I joined earlier and sooner, and I kind of had a misconception that it was an old person's club.
Old gentleman's club.
Yeah.
Which it was.
It was at one point.
Was.
30 years ago, women weren't even allowed to be in the club. So now things have changed, and it's more general fluid. But it's a group of people that are like-minded and have great intentions. And I've met some of my really close friends from it, and I've only been a member for about a year and a half. So It's a great networking opportunity. It's great to give back to the community. And one of our themes from last year was Rotary Open Doors. Okay. And it opens opportunities, and it really does, because even through you, I've met, we were in the same club. So what we really need to appeal to is to appeal to the new generations and keep bringing people in to be a part of it, because it's just a wonderful organization, and this is worldwide. So also, you have a family of Rotarians across the world. You want to go somewhere in Africa, you want to help build a well, or you want to go. You reach out to that local club, and the people will chaperone you and make sure that you have a great time. Some people even put you up in their homes if you're comfortable with that, because it's just it's opening doors across the whole world, and it really connects us. So,
and that's important, Amber, because even as individuals, as we try to self-develop, it's necessary that we become part of some community, whether Rotary or some business club or whatever it is, that of like-minded minds as well, that would cushion us and help us and mentor and coach and feed off of each other.
That's right.
As we self-develop. So the individual can empower his or herself and can self-develop, can design the life that we want, can write our future, but at the same time we need to be part of something that is aligned with where we're going. You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And even with,
how about community living? You're also on the board of community living.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a wonderful organization that assists people living with intellectual disabilities. And I've worked my way around on different committees. I started on policy, and then moved around to governance, fundraising, and I'm the chair of the virtual fundraising committee.
Okay.
And it's really a wonderful organization that gives back, and it's a nonprofit located here in Oshawa.
Well, community living, I think, is Canadian-wide, right, or global?
Correct. Yes, there is a community living in Ontario, and then different community livings. Durham North per se, and Toronto, they're all located around. But it's so good to give back. And
so you're part of Rotary, you're part of community living, you're part of this new organization forming to clean up the city downtown.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that new organization? What is it called? It has a long name.
Yeah, it's Oshawa Downtown Business Alliance. Yeah. I think that's the name. I apologize, I messed that up, but. Yeah, we're just another group of like-minded individuals that want to see some positive changes downtown. We obviously the vagrancy has been a visible issue, but we also want to attack it more in a helping manner. We don't want to just shoo these people away, give them their free meal, and shoo them on. We're not really helping them by doing this. So. It's a really good organization of people that are just trying to work together.
Can we talk about, so you're involved in Rotary, you're involved with this hospitality industry in the city, and community living, and this new business organization. You were involved in the Chamber of Commerce at one point.
Yes.
So you were so involved in the community. How do you go about doing that? How do we, there are a lot of people in this city and everywhere who don't see a way for them to contribute to community. People want to contribute. People want to make a difference, but they don't. How do you go about doing that?
You gotta find something that you're passionate about, and that goes a long way. So I previously, I've been doing a food drive for about 20 years just because I enjoy doing that around the holiday season. Okay. But I also volunteered with the Durham Animal Association and
the
Humane Society.
Humane Society.
Yes. Okay. But you gotta find something that you're passionate about. So whether it be with the Backdoor Mission downtown, they're always looking for great volunteers. Or St. Vincent's Kitchen that will be launching shortly. They need quite a bit of volunteers to run that on a daily basis.
Oh, they're already launching?
They're almost. I know they're looking to fill the shifts now.
Oh yeah.
The building's still going up, but these organizations, I really get like the warm and fuzzies by doing this. So I'm helping the community. You're making new friends while you're doing it, and you're helping the community, and you're being a part of it. So
it's great to see somebody who puts community first, who doesn't say, I'm gonna, do my job and go home and do my thing and watch TV and forget the rest of the city. More of us should be doing that, right? More of us should be doing that.
Yeah, it takes a village, and if we all kind of pitch in together, maybe we can make this more of a place that's positive and inclusive of a community. But it seems to always be the same 10 people that are signing up for everything, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I encourage you to sign up.
This is great because what the show is about and what our company is about the individual. We constantly talk about the individual becoming empowered and self-expressed and going after self-mastery and self-development, self-care and all those things. But this is an aspect that we don't consider, at least maybe I don't consider it enough, which is our place in the community, our contribution to society. How do we go out there and play on the street with people who are there instead of just isolating ourselves? You bring a perspective to the show that is, to me, a necessary perspective. We need, and I'll make sure I talk more about this, that it's within community that things happen. If we isolate ourselves and we go and try to do things alone, it doesn't happen. It's in networking and in sharing and in engaging. That's where our progress happens. In your experience, how would you?
I feel like we need to get everybody involved. There's something for everyone, and maybe people just aren't aware of the opportunities that are out there. So
how could we change that?
Yeah, more communication. We don't seem to have too many community message boards or anything like that.
Well, it used to be. We used to have message board in the library. We used to have media, local media. Now there's no media. The newspapers are shut down, and there's no local TV or radio. How do we do that?
Yeah, it's tough. Like nothing's in print anymore. Everything's digital. So
including our magazine.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But
how do we go about getting more people to engage and to? I mean, in Oshawa here where we live, a lot of people. John Walker, for example, with his feeding program on the street, it's an amazing. Charity, really. He's not registered as a charity, but he's doing amazing work on the street, him and his people. How do we get more people involved in community and doing what you do?
Yeah, I guess just continued. We have to inspire the next generation, inspire next people to make the difference. And you never know what the difference you could make by just putting your effort in. And so it could be something so small, but you help somebody out, you bought them a sandwich, or you wanted, you talk to them, and you talk to them like a human being, and maybe that made their day so much. You don't know what other people are dealing with. So yeah, I think it really goes back to what people are passionate about. So depending on what your causes are, poverty abolition, or like animal issues.
The world we look at Afghanistan, right? What is going on with women in Afghanistan? How do you, as a Canadian woman, growing up in a society where it might not be perfect, we had the Me Too movement and people were, all those things happening, but generally, women in Canada are, liberal, very free, very open, and suddenly we have a world where the Taliban is back in power in Afghanistan, and I use that example to make a point. How do we, as a society, how have you experienced being a woman in this kind of society? And what would you say to women, say in Afghanistan or countries where they don't have this Canadian way of stepping out?
Yeah, I really value my independence and my freedom, and I've been blessed. Speaking about my travels, most of my travels have been solo. I've gone across the world alone, and I'm empowered and able to do that. I'm able to make my own choices. I'm able to say no if I don't want to do something. And it's amazing that some of those basic freedoms that we have here as Canadians are not part of the women's lives that happen in those countries. And I would a message to them is just hold your head up, and try your best. Know that you're worthy know that you're doing the best with what you can, and just to stay positive in these bad situations.
What has life been for you like as a woman in Canada, as a Canadian woman?
It's been
that's a question a lot of people don't ask, right? A lot of people kind of take it for granted that here we are as Canadians, but for a Canadian woman, what is it like?
Well, I know how to figure skate.
You know how to figure, I wish I knew how to figure skate.
No, it's been great. I grew up in a rural area. I grew up in Bancroft.
Oh.
And I moved to Barrie. I was born in Barrie. I moved to Bancroft. And then I moved back to Barrie. And then I moved to Bowmanville. So most of my life has been in the Durham region. But it's a little bit different in the different cities as well. But I feel like I've been blessed. I've been blessed with this opportunity to live here in this great country. And I've had opportunities. And being Canadian for me is about our freedoms and our empathy and our, like, we're just darn wonderful humans.
Yeah, Canadians, right? Very polite and very. You're right. Canada is. I mean, do you think women could do more in Canada? We need more billionaires. We need more entrepreneurs. But in Oshawa here, we have women taking leadership, like this business organization that you're a part of, this new organization. It's women leadership, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, I think more women, it's time. It's time for us to be the CEOs. It's time for us to be the general managers. And more this is happening. But we're coming from even 30 years ago when women weren't allowed to be in the Rotary Club. It's about community and being a part of it.
That is something, eh? 30 years ago, women could not be in Rotary. And now you're one of the committee chairman in Rotary.
Yes, and we have, we just had a woman president, and we have a woman, Trish. Yeah. And Peter's our president now, and Rhonda Gorham will be our next president. So it's great to see women taking power. And now's the time, ladies. Now's the time. Think big, reach for the stars, and whatever your goals are, just crush them. You can do this. You absolutely can.
You started doing comedy in
COVID. Attempting. My attempt at comedy.
Why would you do that? Why did you?
It's something that I've always wanted to do, just for fun. I love making people laugh. I don't expect to go on and be the next showstopper or anything like that.
Why not? The female Seinfeld.
Well, I'm a little raunchy, I guess, my jokes. But to be honest, I really just enjoy making people laugh. And I like to take risks, and I like to try things and step out of my comfort zone, because only then is when you grow. And I got up in front of everyone, and I had no idea whether it was going to be great or bad, and it wasn't great the first time. And I think I
should come listen to you.
Yeah, it gets better and better, I think. But what's great about it, especially down at the bar there, Crazy Jack's, there's a really inclusive community. So everyone's comics that are basically immature. There are some more pros that come from Toronto and Kitchener and other areas. Ottawa, I think there's another one. And they're really, really good. But it's an inclusive environment where everyone's supportive and they're just cheering on each other. So it's really, really nice to be a part of that. And even if you suck one day, they're still, they'll tell you that you're not doing so good, but they want you to come back and try again. And it's been great to be a part of that. And
so you just go out, here you are, a Canadian woman, and you just go out and live. You travel to South America, Africa, you travel all over the place, and you want to do comedy, you go on stage, nothing faces you, you just go do your comedy. It's amazing, it's great. That's what we're talking about, living your life, right? Just be brave and don't let things hold you back. Amber, let me ask you a serious question. And this is kind of, going back into the past a little bit. But I think it's still relevant. What is your comment? What do you think of the Me Too movement?
Yeah, this is a tough one. What a loaded question. Yeah, it's time to, a lot of things have been silenced in the times, and people maybe not able to speak up. But yeah, it's time to speak up, and if something's not, something happened or something, you need to be be able to speak about it, right?
So on the show, let's give a voice to women. Let's give a voice to women for a few minutes. As a man, I would say, I would ask you this question, do you think that the Me Too movement kind of went overboard? Like it became extreme?
No, I think it was relevant when it's time, and I wouldn't say that, no.
Do you think it achieved its goals, if there was a goal?
There's always a new campaign or something going on, right? So it's sometimes I feel like they might say something comes out and then it's the next thing the next month. But I do feel like it achieved its goals. It really did bring these issues to the forefront and made an avenue for people to come forward. So I think it did.
I mean, we had some spectacular cases like Epstein and Cosby and all those people who actually went to jail because of the Me Too movement. It became, quite a thing. Even there was a scandal around Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, right?
Right.
But as a woman, what do you looked at all that, and are you happy? Are you like, this is what should be happening, or how did you react?
Yeah, it was shocking. Like Cosby, that's somebody you grow up watching, and you just can't really fathom that they're capable of that stuff. But yeah, it happens probably more than we think. The things like the Weinsteins and the Epsteins and all those guys. So yeah, it's terrible.
But do we face that kind of thing in Canada? Like, is it as pervasive, in Canada as maybe say the US or?
I think there's a lot that happens between closed doors that we don't know. So
wow, we won't go there.
Yeah, I think
there.
Yeah.
Man. Society, eh? So what's next for you, Amber? Post-COVID.
Ooh. Well, I would really like to go on another big trip.
Okay.
I'm looking at going to Jordan or Egypt and
Really?
Scuba diving in the Red Sea.
Oh yeah, you scuba dive as well.
Yes, I'm a scuba diver.
You want to scuba dive in the Red Sea?
Yes.
Talk about adventure. That is something I would not even attempt. How did you get into scuba diving?
Yeah, it was another one of those bucket list items that I just had to do, and I always thought that you had to be an elite athlete to be a diver, right? And so I called around and made some inquiries, and I found a shop based out of Toronto that was one of the cheaper ones around. And I got my open water PADI scuba diver license. So you have to do so many components. There's a book portion, there's the in-pool portion, and then you have to do 2 open water checkout dives in either the lake or an ocean. So I did all that, and then I did my open water. My first scuba dive in the ocean was in Cartagena, Colombia.
Wow.
And it was absolutely amazing.
That is, yeah.
Oh, it was probably one of the best places I've dove too. And it's because maybe it's a little bit off the beaten path and it's not as tourist popular as some of the other dive locations. But I've never been so scared in my entire life. I did not take it, I did not catch on to it quickly.
Okay.
I had a learning curve.
So you did scuba diving in Colombia?
Yes. And many other places
That
since.
is incredible.
But it was something like that too. So it's very unnatural to be breathing underwater. We're using a machine to breathe. So it's normal to have those fears and to be self-conscious and worried about it. And I'm even I wouldn't say claustrophobic, but I don't really love super small spaces. But you get used to it, and once you be able to trust that breathing, and you're the master of your own equipment. You really have to know it inside and out, and you don't trust other people to do it. That's your life-saving apparatus. That is your life, right? So once you become an expert in your own equipment, you start to get a little more confidence, and then when you're breathing underwater, you learn a set of skills that you have to demonstrate before you pass your first certification. And then I went off and I took the advanced certification, and then you have to go down to 100 feet. Wow. And they're going to test you to make sure that you don't get narked.
That's incredible.
So we do some math and some little tests down at 100 feet just to prove that you can do so. Because
do you touch the bottom of the ocean or sea or whatever.
You're typically not supposed to touch it because there is some, delicate wildlife and there could be coral and things like that you don't want to crush.
Okay.
So they teach you in good buoyancy to never touch the bottom.
Oh.
But from time to time it does happen, especially up here in the lakes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as big of a deal, but you want to be very careful about. I was diving in near Ocho Rios in Jamaica, and one of the people in our group, he was just crushing the coral, and we were just like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
Did you scuba dived in Lake Ontario?
I have not dove in Lake Ontario. I'm more of a warm water lady. I really like the tropical waters. I have dove up in Georgian Bay, and it was snowing. It was so cold. When I jumped in that water, I was thinking, why am I doing this?
It was snowing and you went scuba diving? Yeah. Oh boy, that's crazy.
And the visuals aren't that great. Like the visibility isn't so wonderful, and wow, smallmouth bass. Like I prefer to see octopus and like really rare things in the ocean. And that's the love of it for me. But everybody has their different reasons between
Would be
it.
nice to add underwater photography.
Yes, absolutely. So the good cameras are very expensive. Okay. So I did rent a camera when I went when I was diving in Jamaica, even though Jamaica is not known for a dive destination, but of course they have water, so why not, right? Yeah. I got some wonderful photos, so maybe that's my next step too, to invest in some really nice equipment. But I haven't been traveling too much for diving yet, so
you told me a story about Peru and Tanzania as well. Can you talk about those two stories?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. When one of my first trips alone, like I've done a lot of North American travel alone, but I like to travel alone because I like to set my own schedule. I like to go at my own terms, and I really like to ingrain myself in the culture of the place I'm going to. And I find sometimes if you're there with a partner or a friend, you're kind of having your own vacation together, but you're not getting the whole picture of it. So I went to, I had my mind set, I was going to hike the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. So I booked it all. I was so nervous. And then I had to fly to Lima, Peru. I spent a day in the major city before I went to the next destination. So landing in Lima, Peru, there was a Peruvian movie star at the airport when I was there. So it was just pandemonium. It was very, very chaotic. And you have to get the taxis from registered taxi stands because there's a lot of scary stuff happening. So I'm trusting this taxi to take me out to my hotel, which is about 30 minutes away. And the airport area is actually in a slum. And so as I'm driving, they drive really, really wild there too, like really wild. I thought I was going to die. But as we're driving, the houses were very unfinished, and it was a really terrible area. And
you mean a slum, like a ghetto kind?
Yeah, very like unfinished buildings and very, very dangerous things that I had been reading about. And so I was at that point. I was like, okay, I'm scared. Like, what have I done? Like, what have I signed myself up for? But then overcoming that fear has made me stronger. It has made me the person that I am today. So I got to the hotel. And I said, okay, I'm not going to be walking around here at night tonight. I'm just going to, enjoy the hotel and go to bed. And then tomorrow's a brand new fresh day. So I get up in the morning, and then I walk around, and then I felt a little more comfortable. I got my bearings, and I kind of, blended in a little bit more, seeing everything in the day. But it was a great experience. So then after that, I took another flight, and I went to Cusco, Peru. And when you land in Cusco, you're at 10,500 feet already. So as soon as you get off the plane, you get off on a tarmac, and then you have to walk into the airport. As soon as you get off the plane, you have altitude sickness.
No.
So that is the biggest problem there. And now learning what I've learned, you really have to give yourself some time to acclimatize. So don't plan anything. If you want to go to Peru and see Machu Picchu, do it. But don't plan anything for the first day or two. Just go, get your altitude sickness under control. Once you acclimatize, sure, go do everything. but I made that mistake. I was there for, I think I was there for 14 days, and I jammed every single day. Like I always have an incredible itinerary because I want to see as much as I can, and I over jammed it, and I got so sick, and my poor hiker mates on the Inca Trail. I was so sick. I didn't think I was gonna finish because I was just really bad altitude sickness. But I kept trucking along, and I made some good friends on the trail, and it was such a beautiful organic experience. And to think that the Incan people, you know, they brought everything up this hill, this massive place, and built like a place for the wealthy up in the sky. Like, it was just amazing, and the stonework and what they did without the modern day tools, like their seams on the rocks are just amazing. But because I went alone and because I did all that, I had such an authentic experience, and I really enjoyed it. So the same with Africa. I spent a month in Tanzania, Africa, just before COVID. So I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro. That was my goal. I was gonna do it. So
this Canadian woman, traveling the world and doing great things.
I said my goals are big, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I did not make it. I failed, but I got about halfway there, and that was good. The altitude sickness really settled in, and unlike Cusco, where you land at 10,000 feet, you're at sea, you're right at ground level, so you're going up really quickly to that altitude. So there's no chance of really acclimatizing. I'd almost recommend someone to go to a higher altitude city for a few days before going to try to do Kilimanjaro. But you know, other people had issues with it, other people had no issues with it. They said in my group that all went up at the same time, only about 30% of the people actually did make it to the top. Conditions are different every day with the snow and the things like that up there. But so that was my goal for going there, and I'm really glad I went. And even though I failed,
this is Tanzania, right?
Tanzania, yeah. So I was there by myself, and it was, you know, quite intimidating to be in a new continent.
Especially going from like Canada to South America, and then, you know, Africa. Not that there's a big difference, it's just a change of lifestyle.
Absolutely.
It's a change of how the society is. Right?
And there's it's very prominent Muslim religion there too. So at times I was very we're not certain areas you weren't allowed to wear shorts, you weren't allowed to, you know, it was improper to kind of show your ankles. And
then you felt it, the Canadian.
I really felt it because it was like 45 degrees. Like I was like, I needed to wear those shorts. Like, but I met this wonderful family there, and they took me in, and you know, you come as a tourist and you leave as family. They made sure I was.
This is an African Tanzanian family.
And they showed me around. They took me under their wing. We did so many, of course, yes, for tourism, and some of it, you know, paid tours and things like that. But I felt so safe and so comfortable there with them. And you know, one day I'm kind of a fussy eater, so one day I wanted to eat spaghetti, and they didn't have. You know, it's not a popular choice over there. But they said, no, we want to make sure that you get it. And they drove all over the neighborhood as the markets were closing to get one tomato, one pepper, one onion, one to buy these ingredients to make my spaghetti. And I would have been happy with a bag of peanuts from the little store or something. Like I didn't need that, right? But they went above and beyond to make sure that I was taken care of. And I was crying when I left. I really became so close with these people. I knew it would be sad that I may never see them again. And I'm still
in touch with them.
Very regular contact with them, absolutely. And my brother there, Edward, he was one of our guests for the Rotary Club of Oshawa. So I had him dial in from Tanzania. And he runs an orphanage in Tanzania. So part of his tourism dollars support his orphanage. So he has over 100 kids that he supports, and some of them need serious surgeries and things like that. So there's even an element of our community volunteerism when you travel too, and just to see what other communities are doing. So
this is great. Like. This is what we're talking about, right? Choosing the life that you want, designing the life that you want. If you want to travel, you travel, right? To design the life that allows you to do that. And it's so inspiring having you on the show and meeting you as well, because it's, what is next? Big comedian, famous, fame and riches on the stage. What is next for Amber?
I want to be the million dollar club.
Okay.
No, next for me probably travel. I'd like to grow my career further. I've been taking some revenue management courses through my employer.
Okay.
I'd like to grow. I really I used to work as an accountant many years ago, and I really love financial work and numbers. That's what is good with sales. There's a little bit of both of that, but you do the administration and then you have a little bit of the back-ended work. But the revenue management specifically is a role that more of the behind the scenes that you might not even know about in the hotel industry, that controls all the rates and everything like that.
How are you planning to deal and to cope with the hospitality industry, which is your thing, right? That's your career. That COVID has so devastated. How are you planning to resurrect, if you will?
Yeah. Well, it's been a dreadful couple of years for tourism and for traveling, but finally things are resuming. Sports is resuming, and
now things are open, right? People could actually come full house, right?
Sports is one of the biggest drivers in this area.
Okay.
And Oshawa.
Yeah, last weekend I think all the hotels were booked up.
Yes.
Because of the hockey game, right?
Yes, and same for this weekend as well.
In COVID, can you imagine? That is something.
Yeah.
So you're a happy camper. Your
yeah.
industry is back.
It's back, and that means I can travel again. And I recently went to Montreal, and I've only traveled to Montreal in the winter.
Okay.
So I've been many times, but it's only been in the winter, and the winters are harsh there.
Oh yeah.
So I was driving.
Not more than Ontario. Not more than Oshawa.
They're pretty harsh.
Oh, yeah?
I think just because where they are located by the water, or closer to the I don't know. It's very, very cold there.
Okay.
And when I was driving there, we could see the beautiful colors on the drive.
Oh yeah.
And I just thought, even just coming to Quebec, it feels a little bit different, like almost like you're in a European country, but it's so nice
Quebec feels European, I think.
We can explore within our own backyard. We don't have to travel internationally to explore and to find yourself and to experience beauty. We have so much in our own great country, and last year I went to Edmonton too, and I will definitely be back. There's no doubt about it. Jasper, Banff, Canmore, I absolutely loved. So there's so much to see.
Amber, thank you for being on the show. We're out of time.
Wow, really?
An hour passed up so quickly.
Holy moly!
I really like this idea that you came with, how you live your life. Traveling, scuba diving in South America and all over the place, Jamaica, the Caribbean. It's amazing. It's what we talk about. We talk about the designed life on this show. We talk about somebody, and you're going to hear more and more of our guests come on from as we progress next week into next week and so on. Even tomorrow we have a guest as well, who is also very involved in the community in the city. But you will find more and more stories like Amber's. Stories of somebody just, she's a Canadian woman, but she didn't say, I'm just going to exist. She said, I'm going to live. I'm going to go out there and travel the world, and I'm going to go out there and be a scuba diver. I'm going to go on stage and be a comedian, a stand-up comedian. I'm going to live my life, and that is inspiring. It's beautiful. Thank you, Amber. Thank you so much, Amber Derby. And I'm sure we'll have you back on the show at some point as we, progress over maybe before the end of the year as well.
Thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure. This has been wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much. Take care. See you guys tomorrow.